Ryan Van, sportbiketrackgear.com, and today we're going to install a Cox Racing radiator and oil cooler guard set on our 2015 Yamaha YZF-R1. Let's talk a little bit about the product, right? Anodized aluminum, it's very lightweight. You're really not adding weight to the motorcycle. And as compared to the stock, right, oil cooler guard that's on there, it's funny, they'll put an oil cooler guard on it, but not a radiator guard from the factory. You'll notice the weave on this is just a little bit tighter, okay? How important is this? Well, let's just say that I've had more than one friend that's been out there racing, took a rock to a radiator, put a hole in it, and burnt down a motor all during a race, right? Because they didn't have a guard in place. This is going to sit in such a way it creates a little space between the radiator itself and the guard, right? Small enough weave that it's going to catch the debris. For track riders, important. For street riders, maybe even more important. You're out on the road, right? Let's face it, a lot of our roads are not in phenomenal shape. You take an impact to that radiator, okay, and say you're on a trip, you're a couple hundred miles away from home, 1,000 miles, whatever the case may be, you're done. You're at a racetrack, you can put your stuff back on a trailer at the end of the day, okay? You're on the street, you're done. So there is definitely need for this product. It's been a great brand for us, been selling these for quite a while with a lot of success. Comes with all the pieces you need to install it. And I have to say too, they did a really nice job with the instructions. Got color photos to give you an idea of what it should look like. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna supplement that with what you have to do disassembly wise on the motorcycle to actually get these pieces on the radiator and the oil cooler guard. All right, I want to gain access to do this, right? I want to make this project as easy as possible on myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull off my side fairings, got this little nose fairing down here on the bottom, a couple of little inner pieces as well. Done this about 1,000,000 times already on the R1. Cool quick release, quarter turn stock fasteners, pretty sweet. Go ahead and pull those bad boys out. We got one up here on the top. Like so. I'm going to go to the other side, do the same thing. Hoping to take this motorcycle back to Grattan Raceway with my friends from Sport Bike Track Time. 4th of July weekend. Pretty super sweet. They also have a ladies' first day that's happening. A couple of push pins here. It's going to be on Friday. Preceding that weekend as well, we will of course be there in support of their ladies' first event. We have our marketing manager, Dalton Fuller, is going to be out there, helping the ladies enjoy their day. Slide that forward like so, right? Pretty simple. All the little push pins and such are reusable. After we did our coolant change too, you can see, you know, after you ride it a few times, that level dropped a little bit, so I'm going to top that off while I'm in here too. Over to the other side. And get this bad boy out. You have to look closely in here and you'll see there are several of these little push pins, right? It's a two-piece deal. Push it in so it's flush, it's locked down to release. Right, you depress the center tab, and when you go to reinstall, push it through like that, put it in position, push down until it's flush. You can reuse those things over and over again, which is pretty nice. One more up here. We should be able to get this one off. Nice forward motion, right? You can see the clips they have in place here. Kind of lock it in, so to put it back on, we're going to slide it backwards. Okay, last piece we need to get off is this little nose fairing down here. Right. Actually using a wobble extension here, 5mm Allen and a ratchet. From the factory there is thread locker on this fastener, so it comes out just a little bit harder. We'll need to have this one off to gain access to the oil cooler itself. One fastener on each side. You also see there is a spacer that we need to keep as well. You look at the radiator on this bike, you can already see there are a couple of dimples on it. It's taken a couple of shots already. Okay. To release this the rest of the way, just lift up, and that fairing is off. We'll start off by comparing the stock oil cooler guard with the Cox piece. Okay, very similar in design. I will say this side does feel maybe just a tickle heavier, but you're going to clearly see a big size difference in that weave. Okay, the one on the right here is the Cox piece. Clearly this is going to block a whole lot more than that. I would also say that the negative effect on the cooling is going to be very negligible, so I wouldn't be concerned with that at all. To install this, very simple. He designed this to be a direct fit piece. Drops right over those tabs. You can see that lines up fantastically too. Piece of cake. And now for the radiator guard. You'll see that he supplied cable ties, right? Total of 5. There is one more there than we need. And we're going to look at this here and get an idea of what they want to see in terms of insulation. And if you look at the radiator, right, and let's try and get you to zoom in real nice, like say right here. Okay, you can see that this is actually where the core of the radiator comes together with the tanks. Okay, and there is a void right here. Okay, there are no radiator fins right there, right? There's just basically an aluminum support, okay? That is the area where the cable tie will pass through to secure that radiator guard. Okay, so you're gonna find one of those essentially on all 4 corners of the radiator. I'm gonna go ahead and first thing we're gonna do is get the sticker off. Logo is going to be retained in the bottom of the left-hand corner. That's where we're going to position that. And with the guard, what we want to do is get this bad boy up in place so that it is essentially resting right against this support here on the radiator, both top and bottom. When I say this support, this piece of aluminum right here, okay? So rigid, it's strong, keeps it off of the fins, like so, okay? So that's gonna be held right in place like that. Okay, I'll be honest with you, I've never installed one of these before. Taking a look at it, I believe I've developed an approach that I'm gonna follow here. I loosened up this electronics bay as it attaches to the radiator here on the left side of the bike. On the right side, I loosened up that coolant overflow reservoir bottle. I can manipulate these a little bit and increase the level of access I have. Drop the zip ties, right, the cable ties in through these holes. When we're done, and I've got this all up in place, how this is gonna go is this is gonna go pass through the radiator, loop around the other side, come up through here, like so, okay? And then this, we'll call this the knob, right, is going to be on the back side of the radiator standing straight up and down, Okay, that is how they show it in the instructions, and to me that makes the most sense too. So now I'm going to put this up into place. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to draw either cable tie tight right away. Okay, I'm just going to get it, the first one up in there, I'm going to get it looped through. And once I've done that, I will start it. And once I've started it, it'll keep it in position, which will be nice, and I won't be fighting it anymore. You could probably do a little bit more disassembly here, but I think just a little patience, I'm going to be able to make this work. Got that cable tie facing through there right now. And hold it. And getting it to loop through here is a little bit of a challenge, but I have a pretty good idea here. Okay. That one. Once I get this started through on one side, I think that's going to be a real benefit. You know, you could probably pull off your front tire. You know, let's say that you're building a full race bike. You could organize the installation of all your parts in such a way that, you know, you're putting this on when you've got the front end apart. All those things would make this a little easier, but realistically, I think most of us are probably going to end up doing something similar to what I'm doing right now, which is just, you know, installing every part as they're received. Okay, I think that's going to be the tough one. I've got that one started. Notice how I've got it hanging nice and loose. All right, if you draw that one tight, it's going to make getting this one in there real tough. Make sure you don't twist the cable tie, all right? Get everything moving in the right direction. Push it through there. Definitely way more access on this side than we had on the other. Bring that through. Like so. Got that into position now. Both of these cable ties are started. And now we're just going to work this bad boy into position so we can get this cable tie all tightened up. Okay. Now we'll have a look at the two bottom ones real quick. Same deal here. Go ahead and get this up in the position. These are going to be the easiest of the four without question. Okay, full access down here. Top, a little bit tougher. Okay, still I'm not even tightening that up all the way because I want to make sure I've got ample slack. One tip I'll give you, definitely make sure the bike's cold. I wouldn't run the motor before you do this. It's not going to make your project go any easier. Okay. All right, now we're going to come back up here and pick up right where we left off. I'll make sure I've got this guard positioned properly all the way around. So I'm going to reference the photo one more time. They have here in the instructions. And what they want to do is they want to have it up against that aluminum brace like we talked about. Get myself in a position there, here on the bottom. And I've got that bottom one squared off. I'm going to come over to the other side, do that as well. And once the two on the bottom are completely in place, that'll position the top so that it can't move, and I'll just be able to pretty much tighten those up at will without any worry. Okay, you can see how we've done this. You can see the support there, the cross support for the radiator, right? You can see a little bit of that protruding underneath that radiator guard. It's going to be the same case here on the top. And now all we have to do is draw these down tight. And as I suspected, this is a whole bunch easier once you have the bottom part holding it firmly. I kind of use the screwdriver to push down on the knot, if you will, right? The locking mechanism for that cable tie. Draw that tight. Tighten up the other side. We will trim all these cable ties, and then we're going to be ready to reassemble the R1. Not a bad project at the end of the day. I mean, you could make this easier if you chose to by disassembling more. Right? I would leave that up to your own personal discretion. Myself, I always try to take off as little as possible. Probably got a lot to do with my former employ as a production mechanic. Never want to take more stuff off than you had to, because then it takes longer and you make less money. All right, I've got these all drawn tight. We're going to grab a pair of side cutters. I'm going to trim all of our cable ties, and then we'll put the bodywork back on the bike. Okay, I've got everything trimmed off in terms of the cable ties, right? Just going to pull the top off there. It's in there nice and tight, man. Double check it, triple check it, make sure you're good to go. And once you feel you've got it, it's time to put your bike back together. Pretty simple. We're just going to reverse the process, right? Used to disassemble. I'm going to start with the lower nose fairing. This drops on that oil cooler, just like the oil cooler guard does. Okay, so we get that bad boy into position, like so. Do that on each side, and then we'll jump in there with our side fairings. Man, have I had this bike apart a million times already. I'm definitely working on this motorcycle more than I ride it right now. And I'm excited for that to turn around and become, hey, I'm riding my motorcycle more than I wrench on it. Get both of those down. Okay, grab side bearings. And slide these into position. Okay, to do that, remember we've got the clips up front here. Push it in place, right, a little pressure against it, and should drop in there pretty easily. Get everything started, like so. Down here, got these aluminum shields that are part of the exhaust. You gotta make sure that the slots in the fairing, right, go over the locator tabs on that shield itself. Got that. Quick release fasteners here. tab down here, slide that into place. So, release fastener down here. And we've got one up top here. Assortment push pins. There. Come up here where the inner fairings come together. And all lined up again. Got it caught behind the fender a little bit. There we go. Boom. Into place. Come over the other side. Side fairing on here. Lock that into place. Come down here, just like the other side, make sure those locator tabs make it inside our side fairing, like so. Tab to locate there, put that in place. Here on top of the fairing. Little pins here. And we'll be back in business. Not a very difficult project, end of the day. I think this is one that most riders could tackle on their own if you don't feel comfortable with it. Take your motorcycle to a licensed motorcycle mechanic. Great place to go is obviously the dealer you bought it. If they're local to you, take it in there. Nobody's going to know your Yamaha better than your Yamaha dealer. Okay, there you go. This is the Cox Racing Radiator and Oil Cooler Guard Set install on our 2015 Yamaha YZF-R1 STG project bike.